Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Flocker Xavier here, back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be doing more of like a video suggested by a subscriber. It's not a dunk video or anything, but I'm going to be talking about like my story, I guess you could say, of dunking, how I got into it, and when I got my first dunk, stuff like that. So basically, how I got into it. I mean, I used to just shoot around outside a lot, and like when I was in middle school, early middle school, not really in elementary school, I always used to just shoot around at back of my house with my friends on like 8-foot rim, which felt like 10 to me. And I mean, I wasn't really focused on dunking at the time, so I just shot around, and I started to develop like actually a pretty good shot, to be honest. And as middle school went on, because I was always a baseball player, I always played baseball, made the all-star team almost every year, stuff like that. I almost had no interest in basketball up until about when maybe like 2010-ish, 2011. Just that's when I started to get interested in basketball, watching like highlights and stuff. And the highlights I always loved to watch were dunking, because I felt it was the most exciting like play, I guess, or highlight. Like I thought it was better than the crossover. I thought it was better than whatever, just crossovers, dunks, game winners, stuff like that. I always thought dunking was the best. So I always just to try to touch rim, never came close at the time. Like I could barely touch the net. So in middle school, I always tried to touch a net and see how high I could get on the net. And that was kind of like the cool thing, I guess you could call it, in middle school. Like in 6th grade, mainly specifically, everyone always tried to touch rim or touch net as high as possible. And I mean, I guess you could say mostly throughout middle school, that was what it was, just shooting around and trying to touch net. Never came close to dunking at all. Like I always just tried dunking on 8 foot with like a tennis ball. Even that was hard at the time. So what did I do though? Like, how did I get into it? Well, like once high school started, basically, because I never really was close at the time. Once high school started, I had grown more, because I was about 5'2" probably in middle school. And then once I got into high school, I was around like 5'5", so I started to get a little bit taller, and I was like able to touch higher. So in like the beginning of high school, that's when I started touching like mid-net level, or a little bit below mid-net level. And I still wasn't close, so it was kind of frustrating. But I just kept trying, and that's why I always like to like think, just keep trying and don't like stop trying, because like I have talked to people that are like starting to think maybe I should like give up because you have those bad days. Those bad days are the worst. Oh my God, bad days just make you feel like you can't do anything. Like bad days, you can't even probably get like a windmill. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes on bad days, I can't even hang on rim. I can't even grab a rim. So just trust me, like keep trying. That's what I always thought throughout high school, or big middle school and high school. So I just wanted to so bad. I wanted to dunk so bad. So I kept trying, and dunking on low rims was my favorite thing to do. I always tried any dunk I could possibly do, and looking up to like people that were like the best dunkers at the time, usually like Vince Carter and Gerald Green and stuff like that. So I would always look up to them and watch their dunk videos and try to do their dunk specifically, like windmills. Windmills are no doubt my favorite dunk to do. I just think they look the best. So sophomore year was actually probably freshman year to sophomore year in high school was probably the best like time for me, because from freshman year I was about 5'7". That was probably the tallest I was at the time. Like, I mean, like that was when I was kind of starting to actually grow, and I was happy about it. So I was starting able to touch like mid net level finally by the end of freshman year. And then freshman to sophomore year, I had a growth spurt and grew from about 5'8" to about 6 foot. So I grew about 4 or 5 inches. So that made me so happy. Like, you don't even know. Like, I didn't realize it until I actually like got my height checked, and I was around 6 foot. So I was super happy, because now I could like try to touch rim and get around there. And basically the beginning of sophomore year was when I was first able to touch rim. I was not able to grab it yet. I just always tried to go up, and I don't know why I always jumped 2 feet I always jumped 2 feet to try to like touch the net. I'm not really sure why, because 1 foot was a lot easier for me. But beginning of sophomore year is when I finally touched the rim off of 1 foot, and I was so happy. Like, it's pretty like crazy when you think about it, because you see other people do it, like NBA players and dunkers, and it looks so easy, but it's really not. Like, it takes a lot of work. Like, I'm outside almost 2 hours a day playing basketball, and I know I'm young and I'm already dunking, which is pretty crazy and surreal, but like, it's so hard. It's a lot harder than most people think. They just think that like you can just touch like the net and stuff, but it's not that easy. And by the end of sophomore year, May of sophomore year, my first dunk. Finally got it. Like, I was always getting tennis ball dunks, stuff like that. Finally got my first dunk, and basically it was just so crazy at the time, because like I couldn't really grip the ball and I couldn't just go up and dunk it, so I had to throw lobs. And my first dunk was actually a lob to myself, and it was like one of the greatest moments for me. And it was actually in school, and it made me, oh my god, like, it's so weird thinking about it now because I can dunk so easily now, but it was so crazy. And I'm actually going to do a part 2 of this video, so at the moment I'm going to end the video here, and part 2 is coming probably today or tomorrow, but I'll keep you updated. You're not updated, but you know what I mean. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.